We have had an incredible last few days here on Seattle Seahawks Today covering the 2025 NFL Draft. But throughout this offseason, we're not slowing down by any stretch of the imagination. As we count you down to training camp, we will bring you multiple videos a day, live shows each and every Monday and Wednesday, breaking news, Q&A mailbags, and more. We want to make sure that every single member of the 12s is subscribed to the channel. We are closing in on 67,000 subscribers. We're less than 400 away from reaching that next milestone. The best part about it is it doesn't cost you a thing. You can subscribe to Seahawks Today for daily Seahawks coverage for free. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. Subscribe now, and we'll get started with today's show. When Mad Mel Kiper wasn't complaining about Shedeur Sanders not getting picked until the 5th round, he had some very kind things to say about what John Schneider and the Seattle Seahawks pulled off for their 2025 draft class. Tylert Jones, your fearless leader, here with you. Thanks for joining us here on today's show. What we are going to do is we are going to show you Mel Kiper's draft grade and his analysis, and we'll give you our thoughts on what Mel had to say coming up on today's program. Let's go ahead and start with the overall grade that Mel Kiper gave for Seattle. It is an A. And for reference, last year Mel Kiper gave the Seahawks a B-. So a significant step up, high praise. And the only team that he gave an A+ to was the Cleveland Browns, who drafted his guy Shedeur Sanders. So pretty good company, according to Mel Kiper, with the grade that he gave out this year. Going into the draft, the top needs that Mel felt like Seattle needed to address were the offensive guard spot, the center position, defensive tackle, along with wide receiver. And here are the draft results for what the 2025 draft class looks like for the Hawks. In the first round, they selected Grey Zabel, the offensive lineman from North Dakota State. He played tackle in college, expected to play guard for the Hawks. Then at pick 35, the Seahawks traded up to snag up, I think, the steal of the draft. I had a first-round grade on this guy, Nick Emmanwori, the safety out of South Carolina. Then at 50, the Hawks go tight end as they selected Miami's Elijah Arroyo, who has a lot of potential to be great at the next level. Then in the third round, they go quarterback from Alabama, Jalen Milroe. We knew going in that John Schneider and company were pretty high on Milroe, as they had not one but two visits with Milroe, the only quarterback in this draft class that they did so with. Then in the 5th round, the Seahawks selected Torrey Horton, the wide receiver from Colorado State, who was extremely productive. And due to an injury, he slipped a little bit in the draft, but there's every reason to think that he could be a good player at the next level. They followed that up with another 5th-round pick, reuniting Jalen Milroe and tight end Robbie Oots of Alabama. Although he played tight end at Bama, he's expected to be in an H-back/fullback type role in this Seahawks offense. Then at 192, Seattle goes with Bryce Cabeldue, who played his entire career at the University of Kansas, my school. I'm happy with the pick, as you can imagine, at the tackle position. He'll be moving to guard. His first snaps at guard were in the East-West Shrine game, and he looked pretty comfortable playing that spot. And then they wrapped up the draft with 3 7th-round picks, getting a sneaky good find in Damian Martinez, the running back from Miami, followed by Mason Richmond out of Iowa, a tackle that's also expected to convert to the guard position. And they wrapped up the draft with their final selection of Ricky White III, the wide receiver from UNLV. So what did Mel have to say about Seattle and giving them that A grade? Let's hear from Mel himself. Seattle made one of the biggest roster changes of the offseason, swapping out quarterback Geno Smith for Sam Darnold. But is it actually better because of the decision? I'm not so sure. If Darnold is better than Smith, it's only by a small amount. Yes, this is a team coming off a 10-7 season, but it has major holes, including at wide receiver, where DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are out, and Cooper Kupp and Marquez Valdez-Scantling are in. The good thing, General Manager John Schneider had the capital entering this draft to add quality starters and solid depth. With 3 picks in the first 2 rounds, numbers 50 and 52, he had a chance to come away with multiple starters. I'm a big fan of how Schneider approached every day of the draft, but especially the first 2. Grey Zabel will be an instant starter at guard. I have every reason to think that Zabel is going to be fantastic. I think he was the best interior offensive lineman in this draft, and I know that Seattle was interested in potentially trading down and still getting him, but they didn't get an offer that they liked in order to trade down, and that's okay. They found a player they wanted, and they got him with the pick. Zabel's numbers at North Dakota State, I know that the competition wasn't great, but he still held his own with a 90.4 overall grade, a 93.1 pass block grade, an 86.5 run block grade, only allowed 1 sack. He checks in at 6'6", 312 pounds, and his scouting report is pretty good as well. Plenty of run blocking experience. He's very good in that department, has some link concerns, plays with good quickness to offset, could use some more weight to help with the power. Tom Downey, our NFL draft expert, had him as a center, but all signs point to him being a guard in Seattle. So do you agree with Mel's A grade for the draft for Seattle? If you do, type Y for yes. If not, type in for no. You might get an ad break while the ad's playing. Get your votes in and let us know how you feel. More from Mel Kiper Jr. Here's what he had to say about Nick Emmanwori. Nick Emmanwori is one of the best athletes in this class, and he should help solidify the defensive backfield. The Seahawks traded up to get him, but he's a great fit, and it was a value on my board. Elijah Arroyo is my 3rd-ranked tight end. They got him at number 50. Now, when I look at Emmanwori, he was a steal. And you look at the safety spot for Seattle. You got 2 good ones already with Julian Love and Kobe Bryant. But we know how Mike Macdonald works, dating back to his days in Baltimore. That Ravens defense was at its best when they were able to use 3 safeties on the field at the same time with Kyle Hamilton, Geno Stone, and Marcus Williams. And they should be able to do the same thing now. Emmanwori, his production was fantastic at South Carolina, 88 total tackles this past season, a ball hawk safety with 4 interceptions in 6 pass breakups as well. Checks in with good size, 6'8", 220, just 21 years of age there. And his scouting report is fantastic as well. A modern-day strong safety with truly elite physical traits, mostly showed growth as a tackler and has framed to be elite, plays more finesse than he should at times. Then, meanwhile, the other name that Mel mentioned, Elijah Arroyo. I think he can be a star. This was the best tight end class we've seen in years, headlined by Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren, and I don't think Arroyo is too far off from those 2. He has 1 year of fantastic stats and tape. That was this past season, a breakout year played alongside Cam Ward, who was the number 1 overall pick, as he had 7 total touchdowns. I love the yards average that he put together, nearly 17 yards of reception with 590 yards total receiving off of 35 catches. Good size at 6'5", 254 on top of that as well. In his scouting report, of really impressive athlete who can stretch the seam and win downfield, a decent blocker. Strength isn't there yet. 1-year wonder could be the case with some injury concerns that need to be vetted, but overall, reason to be optimistic there. More from Mel Kiper Jr. coming up in just a moment, but we want to hear from you guys. Who is your favorite Seahawks draft pick? No wrong answers here. Just want to hear from you guys in the comment section. Weigh in and let us know who your favorite draft pick was. Speaking of draft picks, rookie jerseys are on sale now. We have Grey Zabel, Jalen Milroe, and many others. And at that same link, you can see the Seahawks jerseys that we're selling for some of your other favorite players that include the likes of Sam Darnold, on top of that, Cooper Kupp, many others. Go to that link, chatsports.com/Seahawks rookies, to get yours today. And here's how this works. I know you're seeing the number 1 with Zabel, and you saw the 00 with Milroe. You're not getting a 1 jersey with Zabel. You're not getting a 00 jersey with Milroe. When we know their numbers, that's the jersey number you will get. So keep that in mind. Check it out today. They're going to be going fast, folks. Chatsports.com/Seahawks rookies to get yours down. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Let's talk about Jalen Milroe now. Here's what Mel had to say about the selection. And you guys know it, that Mel loved Shedeur Sanders, and Milroe was picked ahead of him, so this should be interesting. Quarterback Jalen Milroe isn't ready to start, but he has unbelievable traits and could help the running game in 2025. I thought he had a chance to go at the top of round 2. Seattle did a stellar job addressing holes, but also looking to the future. So even with Mel loving Shedeur Sanders as much as he did, he's still complimentary towards Jalen Milroe. He's a project, if we're going to be honest with you. He is not ready to start day one, and that's okay. Sam Darnold is your franchise quarterback. But there may come a day when Jalen Milroe's name is called and get the opportunity to prove himself. You look at what he did this past season with the Crimson Tide, 36 total touchdowns, 11 interceptions. He ran the ball very well, over 700 yards on the ground, nearly 3,000 passing yards. Completion percentage, not great, 64.3%. That's a concern for me is the accuracy. We know he's got a big arm. We know he's super athletic. There's just a lot of things that need to be polished up. He is far from a complete player at this point. There is plenty of work to be done, but that's an assignment that Seattle's willing to take on. His scouting report, arguably the most physically gifted quarterback in the class, an incredibly dynamic runner. Has the arm strength and a nice deep ball, processing issues and rough footwork that lead to plenty of accuracy concerns. Do you believe in Jalen Milroe? Are you all in on Milroe here in Seattle? If you are, type B for believe. If not, that's okay too. Type D for don't. Chime in with your thoughts in the comments section below. More from Mel Kiper Jr. on Damian Martinez. Damian Martinez is a day 3 player to watch. Last season, he averaged 4.5 yards after contact per rush, which ranked 4th in the FBS. I wouldn't be surprised if he found a role as a rookie. Sneaky good pick here for Seattle. And I look at it this way. With the injuries that we've seen at this position over the years, from everybody back to Chris Carson to Rashad Penny, and even more recently, we've seen in the last couple seasons that K9 and Charbonnet and even Kenny McIntosh have been banged up. You need depth at this spot. He was sitting there in the 7th round. You couldn't pass him up. I don't blame Seattle at all for getting a player of Martinez's caliber. He had 2 straight 1,000-yard seasons, and he also improved this year as a pass catcher as well. So he brings that ability to the table. Rushing yard average was fantastic, 10 total touchdowns. Checks in at 5'11", 217, so he's got good size and frame there. And that's exactly what we're talking about in the scouting report, too. Good size for the position, thick lower body, and runs with power, quicker than you'd think for a player his size. Wasn't used a ton in the passing game, but when he was pretty good. Still has to develop in pass protection a little bit there as well. Final thoughts from Mel Kiper Jr. on the rest of this draft. I'm a fan of the versatile Riley Mills, who can play in any defense. He had 7.5 sacks when lined up as a defensive tackle last season and is powerful at the point of attack. Wideout Ricky White III and offensive tackle Mason Richmond are good players. All in all, Schneider had a tremendous weekend, improving his roster in several areas. This class gets high marks. This is a complete draft. And there are some people that are saying, well, what about the corner position? And I would say 2 thoughts on that. One, that is something that if you want competition for Josh Jobe, can still be addressed, whether it's a trade or free agency. And Mike Macdonald has said they would like some competition for Josh Jobe. So if that's the one thing that we're pointing to and saying that you didn't address the corner spot, there's still time to take care of that if you feel like you need to. So I wouldn't fret too much on that. But overall, I think that Seattle had a plan going in. They wanted to get offensive line help. They wanted to find a quarterback, and they did those things. And they took care of most of their needs and found quality players and didn't reach a whole lot either in the process. And they also found some steals in the likes of Emmanwori and Martinez and others. I think this was a mission-accomplished draft credit where credit's due to John Schneider. His back was against the wall, and he delivered. For continuing Seahawks coverage, subscribe now to Seattle Seahawks Today. I'm Tylert Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.